Clutch came up short versus Counterlogic Gaming just yesterday, or in Detroit rather, as just yesterday Clutch took down FlyQuest to move on for the rematch here today. Worlds is on the line and they get another shot at a best of 5 here. Hello everyone and welcome to the LCS Countdown, where for 15 minutes we say goodbye to FlyQuest and preview the third place match until the timer reaches 0 and we jump into Champions Select. Now yesterday Clutch Gaming took the series versus FlyQuest in 4 games, meaning the winner of their series goes up against Counterlogic Gaming today, and then facing TSM tomorrow, whoever comes out on top for this one. Third and final spot at the World Championship is on the line for these North American teams. And with their loss yesterday, FlyQuest wrap up their 2019 season, which means it's time to say goodbye in RIP FlyQuest.
Hello, my name Wadid. Hello, my name Wadid. Okay. I'm good, my name Wadid.
Standing on the edge, I see a starting point where there's no limit. Look up, I'm done with looking down. People told me not to dream, to live in their reality, but I am walking through those doors, 'cause I am sure there's something more than what I've been told. Oh, I know I'll find my way, even if they tell me that it's make-believe. Oh, tomorrow's a brand new day.
These Pobolts are gonna die to minions?
And the whole world is gonna know my name.
I died. I just died to creeps.
It's definitely a tough loss for FlyQuest as their final opportunity to extend their postseason and make it to the World Championship. But I think, what we can say is despite their loss, that they definitely didn't go down without a fight against Clutch yesterday.
They pushed them hard, but in the context of their year as well, they had a pretty nice spring. So at least they know that they had some fire in them. And that fire did almost beat Clutch in Game 4, where they took Baron and just lost the game right away.
Yeah, Game 1 was super close. Game 2 they won, and Game 4, like you said, if they took the Baron and played a little differently from there, they could have won that game as well. And as a result, Clutch Gaming was actually tested and forced to show a lot of their picks that we, and probably they were hoping that they could hold until this CLG series. We saw Huni on Gnar, we saw the Caitlyn Morgana bot lane, and they had to play really well to actually pick up that series.
Yeah, I think the Gnar is a big talking point there, right? We, weren't so hot on the Karma top that had shown up in that third place match. The only time it did show up for Clutch was actually in the mid lane, and then of course here, Huni on the Gnar now showing another one of his playmaking picks from the top lane.
And my problem with the Karma always was the fact that in these high-stake matches, you want to put some of your best players, the most veteran players, and playmakers, give them the agency to make their own plays. And so Huni on Karma felt like he wasn't giving it as much as he can usually do on other picks. So Gnar is a champion that he can not only split push, but find an amazing team fight and do a lot for Clutch.
That said, the Yordle's out of the bag now, in a sense, and that, CLG will have that, or that preparation, or at least that time to, kind of theorize what would we end up throwing up against Gnar in the top lane. How will we now respond to the priority of Caitlyn, let's say, in the bottom lane that CLG has already shown us they want alongside that Morgana?
Yeah, it's really interesting because so much of the focus around the draft talk for Clutch Gaming has been, the 3 picks, the GP, the Rumble, and the Kiana, but also their bot lane has been pretty set in how they want to approach the game, where they force the Kiana, or excuse me, the Xayah Rakan situation, and they pick either the Leona or the Morgana into it. And now that is going to probably take over a larger portion of this series because those bans are guaranteed. What happens in that bot lane meta?
Well, for a refresher, rather, on the last time that these teams played, let's go ahead to this week's mic check, which tunes in on the series from Detroit.
Honestly, it feels just like the exact same as LCS.
It's colder, though.
It's no different, right?
I didn't know Detroit had so many League of Legends fans.
It's Canada. They're all from Toronto.
Canada, eh? Hey. All here for Vincent.
They're all Vincent fans. Hesses is too OP, so I don't know what they're saying here.
Yeah, I heard a Huni. I heard some Huni.
They're saying Huni is so hot. I mean, what's new?
What's new? Nothing.
Nothing's new. We're fighting bot. Don't. Does he have flash?
We don't know.
I don't know. I'm not gonna go. They're avoiding. Just push the top tower module. I got one. You should do it. I'll stop all. Aatrox and Jagus, there's only Ezreal. Only Ezreal. Play me the Kai'Sa. He can't lose here. He got it. Nice. Kill them all. Quadra kill. Yo, Cody, do it. I just did it for you, bro. I did it, boys.
Oh, no, back. Oh, you guys are...
Can we engage on this guy?
Yeah. Watch. You have to be so.
I'm done.
Come back.
Henry can come. He's 4v5, by the way. 4v5.
He's gonna go, maybe?
Good.
Yeah, we can win. Oh,
Guys, look past her.
Scratch. Yeah, play me. Run. Rock on. Diana here. Rock on. Diana. I'm good. Hit front. You guys will wipe.
Guys, by the way, they're gonna be really cocky.
yeah.
So we can actually still come back.
We still have. I'm going.
Victor, everyone.
We're gonna wipe them. Okay. Play with Cass on your left. Dash up, watch this, okay?
Kai, yes, lose this. Run. I'm back.
Oh.
I can still go.
Yeah.
Rilla. Go. Kill this guy. He flash.
I can still go.
Yo, get him.
Look, Kai'Sa. Watch Kai'Sa.
Don't
Watch Kai'Sa.
Okay. Help.
Nice.
Careful, Aatrox.
Left side.
Yeah,
Oh, shit.
Rakan.
Oh, shit.
I'm getting top for free.
We win this.
Okay.
No.
Yo, Karma's coming. Okay, guys?
Get him. Oh my god.
I'm just getting top plates, guys.
They're going.
Abu. They're inting.
Leona.
I missed everything.
Leona's, Aurelia's behind us.
Yeah, come. He's dead.
I got my first kill. Yeah, my first kill.
No, I
Trolled.
don't die, guys. I'm sorry.
What is wrong with you, Trevor?
A feels-good win there for CLG coming off of that series. You know, we talk about momentum for Clutch. I think we also have to talk about momentum for CLG, having gotten the better of this matchup the first time around. They'll be quite confident, rather, coming in this time around.
And Wiggly had a really nice feeling on the pulse of the series, knowing that Clutch Gaming was going to be overconfident after such a commanding victory in Game 2, that put him high enough on the pedestal to just knock him down and send him crashing into a Game 5.
Without a doubt. Before today's clash, though, CLG's jungle minced no words. This is the match that decides the number 3 seed at Worlds.
I think that TSM isn't as big of a pushover that people are saying they are, but I do think that us and Clutch are probably slightly above them right now. I'd probably say our match. I think if we play as good as I think we can, and we have the momentum going into TSM, I do think that this match will probably decide who goes to Worlds. So it's pretty important, I think, that we get a lot of momentum and not only just win, but we win decisively, so that we kind of have okay, we know we're good, type of mentality.
Words were not minced. They were not sliced, diced, shredded, or anything the like. But with Clutch Gaming's next top lane pick shown, will this rematch, between Clutch and CLG go to the full 5 games like it did in Detroit?
For me, it's kind of hard to say because the Detroit series was really weird, where it didn't feel like either team's best coincided against each other. Game 2, CLG's playing the weird assassins, the Dianas and Kianas in the mid lane, which we don't associate with them. Then they fix their draft, and they ban out a lot of Clutch Gaming's best picks, who then go to that Karma pick that nobody really liked, and then CLG's playing those, control mages in the mid lane. And so neither team felt like they were getting the drafts they really wanted at any point in the series at the same time. And so it makes it hard for me to sit there and say, that was really indicative of what's going to happen today.
I mean, CLG ended up winning with a YOLO draft on Game 3, 4, and 5, right? They busted out the Thresh, no games, or even the Ahri, no practice on the Ahri for PoE. He didn't even play a solo queue game this year of that pick. So they just busted out saying, we need confidence on our side. So to predict how far this series is going to go, considering that when it happened, it was all about the confidence in the picks, regardless of the practice, makes it a lot harder to figure out if this is going to be a blowout or a Game 5.
Let's talk about some key players then. First and foremost, I think Cody Sun, our player of the series from yesterday, is definitely going to have a spotlight on him today.
Yeah, I mean, he was fantastic yesterday. He was fantastic in that series. Great in the TL1. He's been great all playoffs long. He's definitely on a hot streak. And like we're saying, with this evolution of the bot lane meta around the Xayah Rakan and all the counter picks that can pop up, this feels like the position where it will most likely be won or lost because of how good Cody has been in late game team situations.
I think the big deal here is Caitlyn was shown by Clutch Gaming. In the 3rd place match, Caitlyn was a pick that was banned by Clutch Gaming, already recognizing that CLG has a priority on this pick. It's very valuable to them. So now they've picked up the tools that were used to defeat them. I think they're going to be able to add this with the Morgana that they've also added to make a really spicy bottom lane, because now you have Vio with the Thresh as well. So I feel like before it was all about Rumble and Kiana, and now we're zeroing in entirely on bottom lane, which is fair.
Well, let's talk bot lane then a little bit more. Biofrost, picked up player of the series in Detroit, was instrumental, as you've already mentioned here, Crumbs, in that reverse sweep and coming back into it.
Yeah, Biofrost is probably, I'd say, the star of the team. If you had to pick one player on CLG, he's really exciting to watch as a support because he gives you kind of core JJ vibes of, oh, is he going to bust out something new and be very stylish around it and kind of command the team to victory? But on the flip side, if he doesn't get ahead in the laning phase, you're really not seeing him come out with those performances, which is something that someone like Core does.
And that's why we want to see him on ranged supportive champions, because they have a little bit stronger of a laning phase, and he is better when he has that kind of ability early on to start dictating the laning phase versus, you know, playing something like an Alistar and waiting for his opportunities the way some other players do. So for me, I'm really excited about the bot lane and where that's going to go, because it feels like I'm expecting CLG on blue side to just start with where they ended last series and see where we go from there.
All right, well, for their rematch, the coaches shared their thoughts ahead of today.
Yeah, like I said, because all the other teams are either already going to their boot camps or they're on vacation, you know, we've basically just been training against each other. So it's really hard to hide picks, because even if you don't show one to a certain team, eventually it works its way around the circle, you know, between TSM and FlyQuest and us and Clutch. So, I mean, mostly what we learned yesterday is that Huni is still really good at Gangplank.
I think 2 weeks ago, we would think that the winner of this match would probably beat TSM and go to Worlds, but we just saw how much better FlyQuest got, and it's a pretty good promise to think that TSM also got a lot better. So whoever wins this game or wins today is going to go against TSM, and TSM might be a much better team, a renewed team, and it's going to be another best of 5 where anyone can win.
All right, expressing a little caution there for the opponent that awaits them tomorrow, saying, hey, if FlyQuest improved as much as they did in that month's period of time, then TSM could have a like improvement. But
anyone can win. What a, fun sound
okay,
bite.
fine. All right, fine. All right, well, when it comes to winning this series here today, I want to know what each of these teams needs to do. So win conditions, let's go ahead and start with CLG.
I think I want them to start kind of where they ended the previous series, as well as pick Camille versus the Gnar that you see coming. So you know that you want to ban those 3 champions. We talked about it so much around Clutch Gaming. They finally picked up some wins on some other stuff, most notably the Gnar. So come in ready with a heavy counter pick. We've seen it already from Rune, who has been able to find some wins on Camille. This is another great matchup for Camille, where you have a lot of kill threat after you survive the initial part of the game. And you have such a stable bot lane for the most part that usually don't get blown out. So pick a good bot lane, good scaling mid, and find that counter pick in the top lane.
All right, what's the response for Clutch?
Number one thing, do not tilt. It cannot happen. They have to stay level-headed, because if they don't, they're going to lose a series, just as it happened last time. Secondly, is that I think they need to go with a draft priority in the bottom lane. Make sure that your bottom lane has a strong matchup every single time, and try to sprinkle in some Corki and Azir bans. If you can get PoE off of his comfort picks, I think they're going to get a lot of bang for their buck in the draft. Should be enough to just pilot their normal Clutch Gaming ship and take them to victory.
All right, in the second go-around of Clutch versus CLG, who do you have coming out on top? We do have Darshan joining us later in the day to break down the games as they happen, so we'll throw his prediction up on the board. It is CLG in 3-2 fashion. Scoreline is his prediction there. What do you think, Chris?
I'm going Clutch Gaming. I think Clutch Gaming should have had it the first time around, and they will not make the same mistakes again.
Do you think that they would close it out in a 3-0?
No. Okay. In a game, want to score, I think 3-1. I'm going to go and not go with a game 5.
All right, sounds good. And finally,
I said Clutch Gaming all week. I flip-flop after seeing their performance versus FlyQuest, how close that was. Going CLG 3-2. I think side selection is going to be super important with what you're able to ban, and so they should win all their blue side games, but really struggle on red side.
Mark Zimmerman, the perennial Clutch hater. Yeah. I don't know where it comes from, Mark. I don't know. All right, with that, it's time to get into the game, so we're throwing it out to the Battle Arena.
Hello, thank you, Dash, and welcome to what should be quite the best of 5 here, chat. CLG and Clutch again in about 2 weeks, but this time there's a shot at Worlds on the line.
And Mark just had to go ahead and flip off the last second, like he always does. But really, I'm looking forward to seeing this one again. We got to see Clutch really steamroll CLG for the first 2 games of the 3rd place match 2 weeks ago, but then we got to see CLG bounce back in a big way. And as the coaches alluded to during the